Hi, welcome to Coffee with Crystal. Grab a cup of coffee and join me as I discuss writers groups. Whether you're in a writers group currently or you're thinking about joining one, it's really important that you have a good foundation for your group. So I have some tips for you because my writers group has been meeting since 2013 or 2014, and we're still going strong, and it still has a lot of the same members that we did when we first started. So that's saying a lot. How have we made this happen? How have we been able to stick together? Well, let me tell you. One of the things, number one, one of the tips that I would give you is that you should put the people first. Put the writer in front of the writing. Why? Because you develop closer connections with everyone. It's really important that you are there for one another first and foremost, because as writers, a lot of this is very solitary. And when we're alone, there's that part of us, even if you're introverted, that you need to be with others and you need to feel connected to others. And let's face it, as writers, we're a little weird. And so you want to connect with other weird writers. And so spend some time just talking to each other. I know it takes time away from writing and brainstorming or whatever you do in your group, but just ask each other, how are you? How are you doing? Not how is writing going? Of course, that will come up naturally, but make a point to ask one another, how are you doing? How are your kids? How's your family? How's your husband? How's your wife? Right? Get to know one another. Really build those foundations for relationships, because it will, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. It will make a huge difference. I promise you. That's something that my writers group has really, we've really spent a lot of time, I guess, not on purpose doing that, but just from the very beginning, we all clicked really well. And so that really helped. But even if you don't all click, you can still build good relationships. So don't forget that tip. And please make a point to get to know one another and care for one another in a different way, not just based on writing or careers. Does that make sense? I hope so. And if you don't believe me, just try it. I promise you, it will make a difference. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two, I would meet on a consistent basis. Meet at least once a month, and I would try to meet on the same day every month. That way everyone always knows when your meeting is, and they will put that in their schedule. Because sometimes, we can get really, really busy, and let's face it, sometimes, we're always really busy. And so it makes a difference if you meet consistently at the same time every week. So like, for instance, for the longest time, my group met on the second Thursday of every month. And so it was really easy for everyone to make plans and make plans to meet and know that they shouldn't schedule anything else, because that is the time that their writers group meets. So if you can make that work, that's what I would definitely suggest. So that's an easy tip to follow. Sorry. Tip number three, I would have a social media page. My group uses Facebook, and the reason it's important to have a Facebook group is because you can share tips with one another throughout the month, especially on those days that you're not meeting. Some other options is you could have writing prompts. There could be someone in your group who likes to post those. That would be really fun, and then you could just all have writing prompts, especially if you write different genres. How fun would it be to see what other people post with the same exact prompt, but maybe your mind goes completely to a different place, a different setting with different characters. That can be one way to bring your group together and make you closer. Also, there's lots of times I will read links for like BookBub will post a lot of stuff that I follow. I'll just see other stuff on Facebook or Twitter, and I like to share those links with my writers group. So it's really important to have some sort of social media place where you can all meet and share ideas throughout the rest of the month when you're not together. And then Lastly, topics. What do you do during your meeting? Well, one of the things you can do is brainstorm. My group has so much fun brainstorming with one another, and we have so many different genres. I mean, there are people in my group who write nonfiction. There are people in my group who write steamy romance, people who write sweet and wholesome romance. That would be me. There are people who write Christian fiction, Christian suspense, Christian sci-fi, dystopian. I mean, trust me, we have a really wide range of genres, which can make brainstorming really fun. I'm very character driven, so it's super fun to have other people in my group who are more plot driven. So if I have a plot question where I go, oh, I found this hole in my novel, what should I do? I have lots of people go, ooh, wait, I got this great idea for you. It's amazing. I love it. So brainstorming, definitely. There are other groups who do critiquing. My group doesn't do this, although there are some of us who are critique partners with one another. But if you do want to critique in your writers group, what you would do is you would bring your work in progress and you would share some of that with people in your group. You'd probably print it off, and you can each share that with someone else in the group, and they would read it and critique it for you right then and there. You could take turns. You could each have a partner. I mean, the sky's the limit, right? There are so many different options as far as critiquing goes. So you could do that if you wanted to. Something else that my writers group has started doing recently is teaching different topics. So we generated a good list of topics we would like to discuss, and then we have one person in the group who says, oh, you know what, I feel pretty confident about that in my writing. I will teach you. So for instance, my critique partner, Janice Bookoff, she is really good at writing suspense and really good at deep point of view. So a few months ago, when we were all still using Zoom, we did have to use Zoom for a while because of COVID, and she taught the group deep point of view and taught a lesson on that. So that really helped a lot of people. A lot of people in the group really liked that particular topic, but there's a wide range of topics to talk about. You could talk about brainstorming, you could talk about plotting, you could talk about character development, research, how to schedule, time for writing. That would definitely be my forte. I'm such a schedule person. So I love talking about scheduling and how you can fit writing in. But like I said, lots and lots of different topics that you could discuss. And then you could also do other books. Last month, we had a writer in our group, Nadine Roth, who talked to us about one of the books that she'd read, and she took notes and she printed off those notes and she shared them with our group, and it was fabulous. She did such a good job, and it was just great to have somebody else read a book and summarize it for us and give us some ideas. And now that's also a book that I would like to add to my reading list because it seemed very helpful. And that particular book was about plotting. I think it was called Don't Kill the Cat or something like that. It was a really cute name. You're kind of wondering what do you mean don't kill the cat? Well, it does make sense if you read the book, I promise. Don't hold me to that title, please. Sometimes it's weird, but as an author, I'm really bad with titles, whether it's books, movies, songs. Anyways, that's a tangent. But point is, don't hold me to that title, but something like that. I'm sure you can find it if you Google it. So those would be the 4 main tips that I have for you for your writers group. I guess lastly, I would just say, have a writers group. Be a part of something bigger than yourself. I think you'll find, even if you're introverted, that you will really enjoy being with other writers and connecting with them. And even if you don't click with everybody, I'm sure there'll be at least one person who, the group can be talking and you just share that look. You exchange a look and you go, okay, I get you. That's how I found my critique partner. At that time, she was the one running the group, and her and I just really connected, and she was looking for a critique partner at that time, and so was I, and it just worked out perfectly. So if you're scared to join a group, just take that plunge and do it. And, maybe you're a leader. Maybe you should start the writers group. So just think about it. And if you do have a writer's group, I would love to hear your tips. Please share in the comments below. And also don't forget, please subscribe to Coffee with Crystal so you can hear more weekly videos. All right, everyone, have a good rest of your week and happy writing.